Hey YouTube, it's Aaron, and we are out here to do another street vlog. So as you can see, it is dark and snowing, so it's going to be interesting. One of the points of doing this vlog is to see what we can get with the equipment we have in the time we have. And so again, we're keeping it simple. Have the Nikon D5300 and the 35 1.8, and we are downtown Chicago by the river. We are going to see some of the frozen river. There's kind of big chunks of ice, so we're going to see what we can get with that, and people starting to leave work, so get some of the commute and see what we can capture. So let's go.
Live from Chicago.
Hopping on with the voiceover here. Right out the gate, I was able just to get one with my test shot. It's not anything special, but kind of cool. So as you can see, there's all of these ice chunks down on the river. So I made my way down the steps to try and see if there's a composition where I can actually get low enough to use those ice chunks in the foreground. And maybe they can be that foreground interest that leads to some sort of subject. Fortunately, because the sidewalk is elevated from the river, I wasn't able to get the shot I wanted. So I turned and I saw this shot here. It's nothing special, but it was intriguing. Again, I wanted something in the foreground, so I decided to explore that and see if there was something I could find that I could take that same photo but find a foreground subject. So I came back down this little tiny sidewalk. I found this tree and I was able to kind of frame up and use the tree as almost a natural frame. So that is the same photo. You still have the bridge and the iconic Wrigley building, but this time you have the tree as kind of a little bit more dynamic of an image. Again, I'm trying to just see if there's something I can do with this ice. It's so interesting and it looks fascinating to the eye, but I really wasn't seeing anything unique that came from the ice itself. So I see these lights kind of under the bridge, and I'm just hoping that maybe somebody walks through that, comes from the other side. So I step over, I kind of use the lights, and it happens. There's this guy that walks through, and I use the lights and kind of the rails to get that image. And then walk back up to the street, and I come up these stairs that were pretty cool. I could tell it even just by walking up them, they were going to be a cool frame. So I walked around the ledge and I try and frame up this shot. You can see here, this is what the stairs look like. Nobody ever came. This person there came probably the closest, but I was never able to get somebody to go up or down those steps to get the photo. So I cross the street, and as I'm crossing the street, I kind of take a look to the other side. I see, there's all of the cars stopped on the other side because they have the red light, and there's people crossing that crosswalk as well. So I wait for this cab to turn, and I jump back out into the middle of the street, and I get this photo, which is pretty cool. Then I know that there is a alleyway that I really want, so I walk a few blocks and I get these people to walk down the alleyway. I didn't get them to, they just were walking down the alleyway, and I took one frame right as they were turning into the alleyway, and then people kind of crossed in the way. I took a few different shots, but it actually was that first photo that I liked the most. So you can see here with them in the foreground, that's just really a good image there. But then I continue on walking. As I'm walking through, there's so many different lights downtown Chicago that I'm trying to find something that isolates a subject. There's trying to find something that has contrast. And so I eventually see this stairway, this kind of walkway down to a garage that was able to capture this image. Then right immediately I turn around and I see the statue, and as you can see right there on the left of the frame, a person is going to walk right in front of that. And so I was able to get this last image of the day.
All right, that I'm gonna call it because it's freezing. We were supposed to get a polar vortex this week, and it's gonna drop to like -12 as a high with a wind chill like in the -50s. So this is about the last I'm gonna get out here this week, but that is, we will jump back to the office to go over some of the photos, give some final thoughts. You guys have seen images that I haven't yet, so my lip is even getting numb. I can't even talk straight. But we will catch you back in the warm, heated office. All right, we are back in the warm office. It is actually the next day because it was cold and dark and I just wanted to warm up last night. So we are back. I've looked at the photos and have a few thoughts that I wanted to share. I wouldn't say that anything was amazing last night. Any of the photos were keepers necessarily, things that are going to go in a portfolio, but part of the reason that I started this channel was to see what we can do. And that means that sometimes there's going to be some fails, and you have to fail to learn. You have to get out there, you have to try things. And I think the thing that kept happening last night is there was so much snow kind of blowing around in front of the camera that the autofocus system was struggling a little bit to nail focus on what I wanted. It was actually focusing on some of the snow falling instead of the actual subject. I think you can see here in this photo that the focus is on the snow, not on the man walking across the crosswalk, which is where I intended the focus to be. I think it's still a pretty cool photo. I think that's probably my personal favorite from this series, but it's not exactly what I had in mind. And that's okay. I think there are going to be times where you get out there, you see things, you test things out, and it just doesn't quite come together in the way that you anticipated. And what that does is it gives you an experience to rely on the next time you go out and shoot. That next time I'm out taking photos in a snowy, dark setting, I know I'm gonna need to pay a little bit more attention to my focus. And if I just need to slow down a little bit and make sure I'm nailing it, maybe rely on the manual focus a little bit instead of just the autofocus. And so again, that's part of why we're doing this, is to get out there, to learn, to see what we can accomplish with the equipment that we have. Until next time, until we're back out on the streets, go ahead and subscribe, give this a thumbs up, comment below, tell me which photo you like the best. Do you have any tips or tricks for shooting out in that kind of setting where it's snowy and dark and you're trying to get some sharp focus on things? Leave them down below so we can all. For those who have hung around this long, I did want to give a totally different story, different photo experience that I was able to capture recently, because there are some cool photos from it. And I didn't record a video while I was out there, but there is a frozen tree because it is so cold here. There's the lakefront. There is a tree that has lake spray that has kind of come over the tree itself and frozen, and I was able to go out there and make a few photos. Again, I didn't record video while I was out there, but wanted to share just a few of those photos because I did think they were kind of cool and figured you might like